See some of the elements that you guys would think more of a smart home. A smart home is actually defined not by how much technology is put into the home, but rather it's defined by how you integrate the systems. So instead of just putting a bunch of tech in the house and calling it good, what it's doing is saying, how do we take control of multiple things, like the lighting system, like being able to reach out and grab the heating and cooling from one spot, or being able to grab the security cameras throughout the house, or even being able to turn on the alarm. How do we do things like push our audio from room to room, or raise and lower the shades, or set things up so when we go on vacation, they're automatically taken care of. It's all about how do we link all of this together and give ourselves one control that lets us do all these different things. That integration of systems is what makes it a smart home. Now, one of the interesting things to see about what smart homes are capable of is considering how the systems can leverage each other to accomplish more than they can do on their own. So how do we create synergies out of all of these different systems? One easy example is our doorbell here. Our doorbell, as some of you may have noted on your way in, is actually an intercom panel. So it's a speaker with a little call button underneath it. And as I pressed that button, what happened is it went out to the server. It took the intercom system and said, hey, somebody's touching a button. What do I do? And asked the master server that's running the smart home, the brain, if you will, what do I do? Well, the smart home then looked around and it said, well, the lights are on, and the motion detector keeps going off, and the alarm is not set. So that means there's somebody here. And if there's somebody here and there's somebody else on the outside pushing the button, well, that means they want your attention. So let me take control of another system, the home audio system, and then let me play back an MP3 that sounds like a doorbell. So now we've taken the intercom panel, the server, and the sound system, linked them together in a way that now they can create a doorbell. What's really cool about that is if I were to go to the intercom panel in the kitchen, press the button and say, who's there? Then, when the house looked at the situation, it would see somebody on the intercom. So, if my friend on the outside pushed the call button again, instead of playing the doorbell a second time, what it would say this time is, oh, there's already somebody on the intercom system. So this time, let me connect them together and let them have a conversation back and forth. And if you're not home, well, the house is going to be aware of that because it's going to look at the lights, because it's going to watch the security system. It's going to acknowledge nobody's here. So if somebody rings the doorbell, well, an MP3 isn't very helpful. An intercom call isn't very helpful. So instead, it's going to reach out to that security camera, snap a picture of who's there, attach that onto an email, and then fire that email out to your smartphone. So now you're saying, oh, look, the DHL guy is sitting outside of my house with a package. And if you've decided to make your smartphone a subsystem of the house and connected it into the master server, then you can press talk off that email. Your voice goes through a data stream up to the brain, and the brain converts it back over into an intercom call. So now you're actually talking with the person on your front porch, even though you guys are out here in Cupertino, and you're saying, hey, DHL guy, leave that package on the doorstep, or better yet, hide it behind the plant. I've got a nosy neighbor, and I don't want him to find it. So you can actually control your system, engage this in an entirely new way. And a gentleman that actually came to the smart home had this, a system similar to this, and he said, you know, what I use it for, I told my neighbor, when I'm on a business trip, you go over and feed my dog. So Bob, go feed my dog, press the doorbell 3 times in a row, and then wait for 15 or 20 seconds, and the door will unlock for you, and you can go in and feed the dog. So the neighbor is thinking, awesome, I just got the passcode to this guy's house. What was really going on was he had set up the house so that if somebody punched the doorbell 3 times in a row, it would send him a little image that said, this person wants into your house, authorize or don't authorize. So then he could say, yeah, go ahead and authorize and let Bob in. Well, he said there was this one time he was in a meeting and he looked at his phone and he went, oh, wait a second. He excused himself from the meeting, dialed up his friend and he said, hey, Bob, are you over at my house right now? And Bob was like, yeah, I'm here. And he said, yeah, you went over to feed the dog? And he's like, yeah. He said, why are there 4 other guys with you? And he said his neighbor was totally flustered and he finally admitted, he's like, well, you have the best home theater in the entire neighborhood, and the big game is on today, and since you were out of town, we thought maybe it'd be okay if we just came over. So this guy loved it. This guy loved it because suddenly he was able to take a web camera and his phone and a security system and an email server, link them all together so that he suddenly had control that he'd never had before. He was actually able to find out why there was always popcorn on his floor when he came home from his business trips. you know. That kind of power is what a smart home is all about, linking the systems together to give you more control.